Hello, loves. Just so you know, it's actually 11:11 here, just as I'm starting the recording. I wanted to come on today because I'm sure many of you have been experiencing some really intense timeline shifting. It just feels like we're being massively moved actually into our highest alignment. And it's sort of like we're dipping and diving and ducking as we're being moved to where we are meant to be. While you're being moved, it may feel like everything is exiting, but this is happening sort of so that many of us or you can get into your own sort of sovereign bubble and move through what some term the eye of the needle, sort of moving from the veil of what was into the new. Okay. And so there's a lot shifting with this. Some of the things that are coming through that I wanted to talk to you about is there's been a very deep awareness that the old Atlantis timelines are completing and collapsing out. But for those of you that have been here with me for a while, I've talked about the divine counterpart twin flame connection and how a lot of that goes back to the separation wound within the Atlantis Lemurian timelines, but also how I've spoken about how I personally have been guided to be on the East Coast from, north all the way down through the South. And sort of that was my energetic jurisdiction that I was responsible to work with. And this process is I'm being shown coming to a close. Now, I'm also acutely aware that I may still be on the East Coast, but I'm being freed from that old frequency. Hold on. This is driving me nuts. That's the Libra in me that wants it to be more balanced. Okay. So thank you. But I also feel like that's a perfect example of sort of like those adjustments that are happening to bring us into our alignment. I love it. I can't make this up. And so as we're going through these processes, many are being freed from this. The last few weeks, we've been talking deeply about how the core wound is healing at a deeper level. There's been sort of this shift within the feminine collective, moving into more and more of her new role because she's so much stronger and more stable. This is overall allowing the masculine collective to really unravel and free themselves from what they've been experiencing. And I was out for a walk a little bit ago, and I literally had to stop in the middle of the street so I could write this down. So, divine feminine and divine masculine, massive movements into true alignment. As we're freed from the old Atlantis timelines, old patterns are collapsing. Divine feminine is being moved swiftly through timelines to land exactly where she's meant to be, where she belongs. And divine masculine is untangling from the webs of the past to also align with where he belongs. And for those of you that are here with me, yes, in twin flame divine counterpart connections, but those of you working deeply on your internal union, you may be noticing that there is a balance of both of these happening. So you see, even through this, I feel somewhat fidgety today, but it feels like through the energies, through the messages, through what I'm sharing and the adjustments I'm making to my surroundings are helping us to sort of make those adjustments as necessary. Okay. So it's about making the adjustments in the present and then also sharing the results into the past. This feels very, very, very important because one of the topics that was coming up that we spoke about this last few weeks was sort of around this idea of digestion, like in our physical human form and being able to digest, say, our food or our resources. But this is sort of going deeper into the past And it really does go back to the core wound in the essence that so many things happened and the pain and the suffering. We were struggling to digest life, to digest the trauma, to digest the separation and the things that were happening to us. And so that is currently being reflected in our physical forms with showing us where we're wanting to strengthen our digestion so we can absorb life, we can absorb the truth, we can absorb our nutrients, right? This feels like a very, very, very important topic that also, again, like I've said, goes into that energy of agelessness and looking at health and aging in a whole new entire way. This is synonymous with those timelines of Atlantis and Lemurian collapsing. And what I mean by that is it's sort of like all of the energy we came here to work on. Humanity came to resolve all of the karmic energies and things that happened since the fall of our planet. And the fall was really happening during the time of Atlantis. So the fact that we're back to that point, we've all been working on it, those that resonate, but the fact that the collapse of Atlantis, that timeline is collapsing is the best way I could describe it, or the best way I can tell you I'm being shown. But what that's doing is actually allowing us to restore back to the time before we fell as a planet. And it's not because we're going backwards, it's because the work that we've been doing now is bringing us back up to the higher frequency. We're sending the results back to what it was to connect, sort of like a bridge to bring things back up to where they were. And it's allowing the uncomfortable or fallen frequencies to dissolve. Okay, this is the best way I could describe it. And this is happening on a planetary scale in the way that I'm being shown, but we are experiencing it as beings within our own physical human body, within our connections, within our relationships, within our life. And so you may be noticing that old timelines, old contracts, old experiences are collapsing very swiftly. Now, to me, the energy that I have been feeling with this has felt very freeing. And I have a energy of excitement and hope with it, because what I'm sensing is that it's allowing all of us, regardless of where we were within those contracts or those experiences, it's giving everyone the opportunity to align with who they are now, to level up to their next levels, to drop in the results of everything that they've been doing into, like I said, into the past, into where those energies were, and letting everything upgrade to who we actually are now. Because if you have been working on things and you have been working on specific patterns, and then you're not necessarily seeing the results that you're wanting to see, I encourage you very, very deeply to ask and intend to send the results back to the other versions of yourself, back to your past experiences. You can set that intention energetically. You can go into a meditative state and send those energies back. You're welcome. I'm available for one-on-one sessions if you feel like you want bigger support for that. And just allowing yourself really to go back. It's not always necessarily about the version of you now. The beauty of it is it's about sharing the upgraded version of who you are now with the past version of you that didn't have that information. And this is, in a sense, how we're freeing ourselves from the old matrix, from the old webs, from the chaos, the confusion, and the codependent energies, and moving into our sovereignty so that we are, again, in our own essence. I kind of am seeing it like everybody or people, those of you that resonate, gets into their own sort of energetic sovereign bubble, the old information unravels, we get moved to where we're meant to be. And then that levels of co-creation with others starts to open in new ways. And it could be people that are brand new to your life. It could be people that you knew from before. It could be lots of any scenarios. The beautiful part is as you're aligning with where you're meant to be in your highest timeline, that energy is naturally going to come into alignment. You don't have to figure it out. It's going to show itself to you, and you're going to know that it's in alignment because of how it feels and how it supports you. Okay. And I feel guided to reiterate that in any given moment, whatever you're experiencing, again, to continue to intend to share the results. Ask to share the results down into your Earth star. Okay. I've also noticed that if you're feeling sort of backed up or like that you can't digest the energy or things aren't necessarily moving in your life, it can be very important, again, to share the results, but to also go in and dissolve, unravel, untangle the past information all the way down into the roots, into the earth star, so that that ancestral information and past life information is being cleared out and returned back to the origin. So there's actually enough space within your pillar to actually house your true essence. Because this is another thing that I've seen many times. It's happened to me. I see it with many people that I work with, is that you're doing the work, you're doing the work, you're doing the work, but the results are not matching up with the level that you are working. And that 9 times out of 10 is that there is not enough space for the results to come in. Okay. Now, also, you can go back. I have some free meditations on the channel that will help support some of the shifting with the energy. I have some on my store, on my website. Of course, again, I said I have my one on ones, I have my Patreon group, whatever you feel guided. Most importantly, you can even just start to work with the energy in this video as we're speaking and as I'm sharing some of the process and potential of how to go about that. Do you have to do it the way that I describe? Absolutely not. It's just the way that I know how to work with it. So I share from my perspective and things that have been successful for me. Okay, loves. Again, all it's also coming like you can draw it, draw yourself, draw your connection to the earth, draw yourself standing on the earth, draw those roots down into the heart of Mother Earth, draw your connection to your higher direct source. Feel your pillar of sovereign energy, whatever you need to do to feel more in those essences and alignment of what it is that you've been asking for. Okay. And this is important because really you are the conscious creator of your life, or you have the capacity to be the conscious creator of your life as you sort of take the reins of your creations, as you take the reins of what you want to align with or not. And we are at this beautiful, gorgeous precipice of time where we have never had an opportunity to free ourselves more than we do right now, at least from what I'm experiencing, seeing, and sensing, and within the bandwidth I've been working with. Okay. So, for those of you that resonate, you may want to tune in with some of those aspects from your core wound or from your Atlantis, Lemurian memories, even Avalon, or any of those other frequencies or dimensions where you may feel that you've still been doing some of your core soul work. Okay, loves. With this said, I know it was a lot. I actually feel my system calming down just expressing to you some of what's happening. So I've also noticed these last few days, actually today, as the date that I'm recording this video, Mercury is going direct. I don't know about you guys, but I've been feeling the shift of that with multiple timeline shifts, not just a day or waking up and feeling it, but there's been like multiple timeline shifts just within a few hours. So I do plan to come on Patreon today in the next few hours, as long as the timeline continues to align with where we are. When I do that, I will share a post over on the community tab. I think it's the post tab for you guys. If you want to check that out, if you're subscribed, you should get the notification and we'll just go from there. But what I want to do now that I kind of gave that download is bring in some other support messages. I just want to open it up to whatever is going to be the most beneficial that might want to come through for you. I'm seeing to get three, and then we'll go from there. That makes sense. Wow. Beautiful. Okay, so we have Horseman Herald of Change, which we've just been talking about very much, right? And we have this lost in space, needing direction, and the further gate, bold steps forward. So this is now bringing me into those messages that I got around the masculine and feminine energies, where we spoke about the feminines are sort of what it feels like with the feminines is they're almost like picking up their feet, surrendering and allowing the universe to move them to wherever they're meant to be. The masculines, on the other hand, are going through a much more physical world unraveling, but this horse and this change energy to me is speaking horse's freedom. So very much about speaking about being freed. This energy of like lost in space, needing direction, to me is where those shifting is happening, where the timelines are adjusting, where things are being realigned. And for people who are not necessarily aware that this is happening, it can feel disconcerting, it can feel unstable. But this is where you can realign back to your own heart, back to your own truth, and just allow things to guide you and show you the way. And it feels like as this internal alignment, aligning with your sovereign energy as a being versus attaching it to any specific thing, is allowing the bold steps forward. It's allowing this change to happen swiftly. Okay. And like I said, it feels like most of the feminines are pretty well versed in allowing this transformational process to happen. Yes, like I said, it can still feel a bit disconcerting sometimes, but if you can remember to restabilize back to yourself, back to your highest alignment, surrendering to your truth and your highest alignment, and putting your trust in your higher power and your own internal guidance, you will land just where you are meant to be, my loves. And the more you can trust that process, the better. It's almost like getting in the boat and you have your oars, but the water is moving so swiftly. You just put the oars in the boat and you let it move where the water and the current is taking you, and trust that you, like when I'm saying that, I'm seeing sort of like this higher magical energetic force moving the river, moving the water to where it's meant to be. And again, like I said, how this is translating on the masculine side is there is lots of collapsing and shifting happening within the masculine collective's physical world. Okay, so the things that they were doing that are not actually in alignment with their true self and where they're meant to be, it's unraveling, it's collapsing. It is literally dropping like sheets, like an avalanche. Okay. And it feels intense when I see it and say it that way. But what it feels like is it's intense for a bit. And then it's like, whoosh, the sun comes out and there's major, major clarity about where the masculines are wanting to be. And when the dust settles and the sun comes out, there will be a very swift energy shift from feeling lost to feeling very clear about where they're meant to be and taking bold steps forward to get themselves to that place. Okay. So like I said, for those of you working on both, maybe experiencing both of these simultaneously, where a part of you is surrendering and knowing that you're going to be exactly where you're meant to be, and another part of you is working on deeper unraveling and shoring things up and cleaning up some of those last bits of energy. Wow, something just shifted in my throat chakra when I said that. So I feel like it would be good for you to pay attention to your own internal communication system to shore up and strengthen that internal voice, but also listening and opening your ears to hear what is being said. And this is immediately taking me to paying attention to what is being seen but not heard, or what is being heard but not seen. There's some subtleties that are occurring within the energetic fields between the counterparts that are going to help inform you about your own internal energy and about the direction of your connection. Okay, this does feel like there are lots of swift movements and shifts within the divine counterpart twin flame connections. And actually, as I'm about to close this out, that is what we are going to go deeper into over on Patreon for those of you who feel guided to connect with me over there. All right, my loves, I'll drop all my information in the pinned comment. And wow, okay, big shifts. You'll probably see me soon. And if not, it's because I shifted another timeline, but I'll be back. Let me know how you're doing in the comments. Let me know if this is resonating. And again, center back to your heart no matter what is happening. And if you are uncertain of what to do, be still and be sort of like in the eye of the storm, like the eye of the needle. Allow the shift to happen, and then you take steps, you take moves forward when you feel that clarity of the move to make. And remember, you do not need to know every single step. You only need to know the next step, the first step. And like I said, it might be just being still. And then you're going to know when it's time to take steps or a step forward. Okay. You only need to know one step, loves. The next step will be revealed to you. And this is where the energy of trust in yourself and trust in the divine higher power and your own divine sovereign alignment is going to continue to support you through these transformational times. All right, my loves, I hope you have a beautiful rest of the day. I hope that this was helpful, and I'll see you soon. Lots of love. Bye.